this forecast, we'll be breaking down two winter storms that are on the horizon in the United States. One of them that will begin in the Central Plains tonight and move all the way back through New England. And the second one that will begin next week in the Southern Plains that will eventually move into the Northeast. We'll give you the latest breakdown on both of these winter storms and more in this forecast. But let's first begin with what's happening across the United States today. First, beginning with the Rocky Mountains, where there is a very weak low pressure system that is currently beginning to develop. It might not look like much on the infrared imagery right now, but this is actually going to be our next winter storm that is going to start to materialize. That'll begin to strengthen over the next 24 to 48 hours. On the other hand, over in New England, there is another winter storm that is currently ongoing, bringing a little bit of snowfall for the rest of the day today before this will eventually shift out to the north and east. But for the rest of the United States, there's a high pressure system dominating across the Ohio Valley, which is keeping a lot of you folks dry back over in the Ohio Valley as well as in the Mississippi Valley today. So as we go throughout the next few days, we are going to be watching a couple of areas very closely, beginning with the Southern Plains. This is where we'll have a winter storm on go throughout the rest of tonight and into tomorrow. We'll have some snowfall back over in Kansas, Colorado, and even the Panhandle of Oklahoma. Eventually going through Saturday into Sunday morning, this trough will move off to the north and east, bring some rainfall to the southeast. Meanwhile, there will be some snowfall, pretty minimal amounts most likely, back over in Ohio and all the way back through areas like Michigan. Eventually going into Sunday evening, we'll have a winter storm that'll start to ramp up in New England, bring some snowfall primarily to those in the northern three states of New England as well as New York, while those along the coastal regions will be dealing with a warm, moist rain that'll be obviously cold in that instance. By Monday morning, that trough moves off to the north and east, and that winter storm should start to move out of the United States. But we'll have to shift our focus right back to the Southern Plains by Tuesday when another winter storm will likely develop. It'll bring a lot of rainfall for those in Texas and as well as in the lower Mississippi Valley, but another big concern will be the possibility for some heavy snowfall. Where that snow falls is still a bit of a question mark, but we are starting to get a bit more certainty on where this may start to unfold. Eventually going into Wednesday morning, that winter storm will move off to the north and east, and beyond Wednesday it gets a little bit more uncertain of where snow will fall and how much will fall, but it does seem like we'll have a lot more snowfall back over into areas in Michigan as well as even back into Missouri and as well as Illinois. Eventually going to Wednesday evening and eventually into Thursday morning, that winter storm will likely move into areas in the northeast. Now, beginning with the winter storm for tonight, there are winter storm warnings in effect for southeast Colorado and western sections of Kansas. Winter weather advisories are also in effect for areas in Kansas, one county over in Oklahoma, and back through New Mexico and as well as into portions of Colorado. So over the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll begin to see this system move into areas like Colorado and as well as even into Kansas by around tonight. This will start to ramp up with some moderate to heavy snowfall, so if you're on the roadways, just be mindful. Visibility will likely drop. Eventually going into Saturday morning, this snow will really pick up in western Kansas as well as in northwest Oklahoma, and eventually going into later portions of Saturday, by around Saturday just after lunchtime, this will begin to have more snowfall from just around Kansas City, extending all the way back through Colorado. Again, this trough will not be the strongest that we've ever seen, but it will start to develop a bit more as it moves off to the east, where it could maybe pose a bit of a winter storm threat to those over maybe into the mid-Mississippi Valley and as well as the Ohio Valley. And when this is all said and done, there will be a pretty decent amount of snow back over in western sections of Kansas. Those areas will see somewhere between 3 to 6 inches of snow, and then back even through areas near Kansas City, I would not rule out the possibility along the interstate of upwards of maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow. So don't rule that out. Again, don't get your hopes up too high, but there should be a little bit of snowfall there right along the interstate from Hayes all the way back through Kansas City. It shouldn't accumulate to too much, but maybe a couple of inches will not be out of the question. Back into the Southern Plains going into next week, this will start all on Tuesday morning. There will be a possibility for a winter storm. The European model has been showing that there will be a pretty massive winter storm bringing several inches of rain in Texas and Oklahoma. GFS model has shown similar signs, but it is a bit further to the north and east on the GFS model. But going through Tuesday afternoon, this trough really ramps up. We'll have a lot of shower and storm activity there on the south end of this trough, back through areas like Louisiana and southeast Texas, and even into the lower Mississippi Valley by Tuesday afternoon. Back out to the west, this is where we could see a mixture of rain and snow. I don't expect any ice or freezing rain out of this system. Eventually going into late Tuesday into Wednesday morning, that low pressure system will quickly move off to the north and east before it starts to move towards areas like New England and as well as into the northeast. Now, this is the European model estimating how much snow may fall going into Tuesday and as well as into Wednesday morning. Now, this is not a forecast, it's just a computer model run, but the most recent guidance does show that snow could occur from West Texas, even into North Texas, and all the way back through areas in Missouri and as well as even into Arkansas. Now, again, we are pretty early on this. We're still 4 to 5 days out, so this area very well could shift much further to the north than what it is right now. So keep that into account. Things may change as we get a bit closer. But going into Wednesday and Thursday, this low pressure system again will start to race off to the north and east. This is Wednesday morning. Back over here closer to Michigan as well as into the Ohio Valley, that is where a winter storm could be ongoing. But again, it gets a lot more uncertain from here on out, so a lot of uncertainty really on the long-term forecast of this. But I would at least expect some rainfall for those in the Ohio Valley. This will likely be a large-scale trough, so everything will probably be possible with this, including the possibility for a little bit of severe weather. Eventually going to Thursday morning, that low pressure system will race through New England. So again, some additional snowfall will definitely be possible there in the Ohio Valley. Now, in the long term for temperatures, I know a lot of you are wondering, when will this warm weather go away? When will we actually have winter? Because it's felt like summer, or at least spring for a lot of you over the last several weeks. Well, things are going to start changing, especially going into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. There is a possibility for a cold blast, or even maybe an Arctic blast, going into maybe late Thursday or Friday of next week. This may be something to watch for. Again, it's a bit long term, but if this does happen, colder weather is definitely coming for a large chunk of the United States by the tail end of this month. Eventually going to February, warmer weather likely to return in the southern plains with cooler weather back out to the north. Thanks for watching. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.